The following is a paid political program. Now it's time for Voice of an Independent Nation. And here's your host, David W. Bowen.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome you once again to our show, The Voice of an Independent Nation. It's 1:05 Thursday afternoon, December 6th, 2012. How was you guys' week? My week was pretty quiet, which is the kind of week I like. Without the election or anything like that, things seem to be running smoothly. I had a nice weekend, and we were able to go up to the Poconos, which I love to do, and visit some family. And it was very, very quiet, very very nice. Kids went out and played and all that. It was very nice. But with that being said, I hope your week was just as nice, if not better. But moving on, we're going to talk about a few things here.
Sure.
I don't know if you've been following the politics, what's been going on, but apparently President Obama asked for the right to raise the spending limit, which kind of makes me nervous. I mean, that's something Congress should be doing, but at the same token, have one person with that kind of power when it's already too high just makes me a little squirmy. Another thing going on is now they're talking about Syria, how they have a stockpile of chemicals, and they're going to do mass destruction on their own people, per se, using chemical warfare. And, you know, it's just one thing that keeps building up, and they're just trying their darndest to get America over there to do some fighting. And I still think, and I don't want these people to be harmed in any way, but I think it's something that we really shouldn't have much to do with. You know, we need to correct our own problems before we worry about fixing others. And right now, America's Hillary Clinton's talking with Russian diplomats and the UN Syrian Council about that, and I just think we're just spinning our wheels. I don't want anything to happen to them people, but I think other people closer should be able to do what they need to, specifically in that area, the Middle Eastern area. You know, all these countries should come together and work out their differences. I mean, they all practice very much the same religion, and they should at least respect each other. I know there's different viewpoints. I mean, that's with anything, but at the same token, you know, we don't got to go around killing each other just because you think a little bit differently than I do. You know, it just gets ridiculous. Unfortunately, politics has become the new religion. I mean, I don't know about you, but I remember in the old days, you used to go to your minister and ask for forgiveness and stuff like that. Now, pretty much, society doesn't do that anymore. You don't hear much about religion. What you hear about is everybody's opinion on politics and everything, and that's pretty much what this show's about, your opinions and what you think. But at the same token, politics have become the new religion, as people, if they're surrounded by people like-minded, they will tend to absorb each other's philosophies. And if you have anybody come in who's outside that, I find that they're not as well accepted. I mean, I know there are some extremists who take everything to heart, but, you know, politics is one of those things to where many different things can work. It's just not set in concrete. And I believe that what we have to do is decide what is the best action to take in any situation and apply it. It's not a red or blue thing. It's not a Republican or Democratic thing. It's not a male or female or southern United States to northern United States or East Coast to West Coast. It's just an American situation that needs to be resolved. I don't know if you guys been paying attention, but I know this week alone, moving on a little bit, our good Congressman Frank LoBiondo has been in the paper, and things have been discussed several times with him. It's always something positive with him. He doesn't attach himself to anything negative, but he put himself out there with the Coast Guard. He's on the Coast Guard committee, and they got funding, which was important. They had some outdated equipment that needed to be funded and all that stuff. But his name's out there. But one thing you realize with Frank LoBiondo is one of the main things he concentrates on is the Coast Guard, and the other thing is the FAA, Egg Harbor Township Aviation Next Gen. I mean, which is very important, but same token, you know, we have a much larger district than just Egg Harbor or the Coast Guard. There's other things that need to be addressed and fixed. Just recently, yesterday or today, I forget when I read it, but he was over in Salem County because of that train derailment.
Paulsboro.
Yeah. And Paulsboro. Yeah, that's Gloucester County. Okay. Yeah, but that's not Frank LoBiondo's area.
No, but for some reason he's helping, because Rob Andrews was at a press conference today, and Rob Andrews mentioned LoBiondo.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
He's helping out in some way, I guess.
Okay, well, I guess if he can put his influence, that's good. But at the same token, he always tries to attach his name to anything positive. Now, I'm not saying that situation was positive, but, you know, we've only been discussing during my campaign the past 6, 7, 8 months about the infrastructure within our district, and that is part of it. You know, so much needs to be fixed, and it's been neglected for such a long period of time that, I mean, this is just part of it. It just reinforces my idealism that we need to start from one point and just keep going, you know, and fix everything we can. I mean, like I told you a couple months back, in a week's time I had 2 blowouts because of the roads. And not that I'm a careless driver. It's just that, you know, sometimes you come across a pothole and it just messes your car up. Same thing with my son, and I'm sure you all know someone who's had the same similar situation. And, you know, we just need to fix this, not just put a Band-Aid on it. I'm just saying fix it. I don't know about you, but I remember when I was a kid, roads used to last a lot longer. And all of a sudden they use asphalt, and it's got to be replaced every couple years. I mean, asphalt's a good thing. It's very inexpensive. But at the same token, you know, it's not as efficient as you would think it would be. So we need to work on that. What I would like to see is for them to start working on building the economy and building our area. Now, I know Governor Christie has made mention about it, and they voted on a couple things this past week as far as stimulating business growth. But not so much specifically in our district, which we have to push, New Jersey-wide. And I think that is important. It is a good step. But, you know, there was over 20 different things that they were looking at and bills they were trying to pass just so they can stimulate our local economy, because New Jersey is on the bottom of the list. And I definitely think that, like I said, it is a positive step in the right direction, but it's not a fix-all, cure-all. We need to hit this in several different fashions, locally, statewide, and federally, to correct the situation. Now, there's a lot of talk as far as raising the income tax on the wealthy. That wasn't exactly my platform, but if that's what they're going with, I mean, who am I to question it or criticize it? The wealthy do have a lot more money to play with, so, I mean, it could make sense. It's not a cure-all. It's not going to fix everything, because in all due honesty, you could take all the assets of all the billionaires and everything to date, take 100% of their assets and their income, and you wouldn't even touch, you know, the deficit. We need to cure the situation by reducing our spending. Now you got the Republicans running around. Those who haven't jumped ship yet are talking about different things, and they don't want to release any their programs. This is ridiculous. We got to give up some. And that doesn't mean the entitlement programs for our poor and our elderly. I'm talking about the special interest things that all these people, we're giving tax incentives to the auto industry. We're giving tax incentives to the oil industries. The oil industry is making billions of dollars a month. And the little bit of money that we give them, it's a lot to us, but to them, it's next to nothing. They don't need it. It's just basically free money that they're able to give to their shareholders. And that's not my way of thinking. We need to correct that situation. Put the money where it's due. Cut money where we can. There's so many programs that we can cut that are just basically irrelevant. They have nothing to do with anything. You realize the government's subsidizing sugar. Sugar, it's an important aspect of everyone's life, but the bottom line is it's unhealthy for us. Right now I'm drinking a Pepsi, the old Pepsi, that its ingredient is sugar, not that high fructose corn syrup stuff. But I like this Pepsi better. But sugar is bad for you. It doesn't need to be subsidized. Another program I would definitely like them to see fixed is the food stamp program. Do people need food? Yes. Should they be subsidized if they need it? Most definitely. But, we don't need to pay for them to buy soda and candy and stuff like that. Food essentials, not junk. Not the sweet pies. If you want to make your own pie, fine. But not the sweet pies that you could buy as a dessert every so often or whatever. Let's just think about this rationally. So many things we can correct. Monetarily to the senior citizens, we waste a lot of money with the VA and the hospitals. Even though my son works for the VA hospital, I think that we can utilize those services by having the veterans go to any medical facility, not just a veterans unit. That's a waste of taxpayers' money all the way around. The doctors at our local hospitals are just as good as any other doctor that the VA could have. Now, granted, there are specialized things that the Veterans Hospital knows about, but I think if they do the proper training, local hospitals can handle that situation as well. Cut down on some of it. There are some things that we could raise our fees on, or there are some things we can transfer one tax to another to raise our gross domestic product. I'm sorry. My tongue's tied. It's getting dry. But there's a lot of different things that we can do to correct that. And it's not a matter of pulling a LoBiondo just to get our name in the paper. It's a matter of common sense, going through everything. Like I said during the campaign, we can go line by line through each program and take out what we don't need, what's not beneficial. The whole point of the government is to establish some type of uniform practice, not necessarily to control our everyday lives. And every new program that we request costs money, and that allows the government to be more and more into our lives. Excuse me. And with that being said, my whole point and what I wanted was that the government deregulize everything. Not everything. They have to control the safety of our society, and they also have to regulate consumer protection. But, unless it's in the Constitution, I don't think the government should be butting into our lives. There's so many things out there that are unnecessary. You realize that the government shouldn't legally have a right to control whether we use non-prescriptive drugs. Not that I condone that practice, but they really shouldn't have that right, and that's why you see all these states voting to allow the usage of marijuana. It's just tying up their jail system, and it's costing taxpayers money. You realize, like in our area here, I spoke with a warden prior to the election, and he was telling me it cost about $85 to $100 a day to house a what you consider a criminal, an inmate. Not that necessarily they're a criminal; it just depends on what they're in there for, you know. But $85 to $100 a day just to house them, feed them, pay for the guards, you know, the electricity, the water, all that stuff, the medical care that they get. You know, that's a lot of money. And, you know, America has more people in its jails than any other country. I just heard that last week. And I just found that amazing. Why are people in jail? Yeah, you got your bad people. People go out and commit murder or crimes of that sort, attempted robbery and rape and stuff like that. I understand that. Okay, but you also have people who smoke marijuana and get pulled over and stuff like that. And, I mean, they could have just been using it themselves. They had no intention of distributing. I don't understand the aspects of it. You know, I've never been involved with any of that. I'm only speaking from what I've just recently heard and what I spoke with the warden about. But, you know, we're wasting taxpayer money just to have these guys in jail. And really, what is it benefiting? When they come out, they're going to be doing the same thing over and over again. That was what the warden was saying. He says most of the time you see the same guys back there again and again and again. And if it's just something small like marijuana possession or something like that, then these guys, they'll spend a couple days, a week or so in jail, get out, and then they're done, you know, until the next time they get picked up. You know, other factors are child support people. You know, fathers or mothers get picked up for not paying child support. And, you know, with our economy, that's quite easily possible. But they get picked up and they have to stay in jail for several days to several weeks, you know, before they can come up with some money. And, you know, they're not real criminals. I just think there should be another program established. My thinking was the WorkFirst program they have set up for social service people, like welfare people. You have to go through a WorkFirst. I know Obama supposedly tweaked that to the point to where not everybody has to go to work or do the work requirement. But, you know, I think there's some other truths with that as well. I think if we utilize that, if the guy or the girl, whoever's going for child support, if they can't find a job, that's fine. They're no longer receiving unemployment or whatever, then at least go through the WorkFirst program established for all in New Jersey. And if they're going through that, they're still trying. You know, but like in our district, you know, transportation is not easy, and access to get around is not easy. You got to go all the way. You have to go all the way to Penns Grove. Is it Penns Grove or Pennsville? Where's the social services building at?
I'm not sure.
It's one of the Penns. I forget where it's at.
Guessing
That's down by the Delaware Memorial Bridge. I know they're both in that area.
Closer.
Penns Grove?
I'm guessing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you got to go all the way down there. And like, if you're from my area, I have no bus service. Maybe perhaps here in Millville or the Vineland area, you can pick up buses, and eventually you'll get there. You know, if you start today, you may get there by spring of next year. But that's how ridiculous it is. We need to reestablish the bus routes to make it a little bit more accessible. But that's part of my infrastructure thing. Hopefully things work out. LoBiondo seems to be touching base with a lot of things I've discussed. And not that he got his ideas from me. I mean, I can't say that. But, you know, I'm just glad the fact that they're being addressed. You know, that was my whole point. But we'll see what happens. What's this, December 6th? Next month, I was invited to go up North Jersey. Somebody I know's announcing their run for governor. Now, it's not Christie. It's somebody else. Chances of winning, I don't know. But I know Christie is pretty popular now. And I hope them all the best. And I'm going to support them in all the manners possible. But, You know, Christie seems pretty popular. One thing person I'm not a big fan of is Cory Booker. Something about that guy I just can't. I can't digest. You know, now he's talking about he's living a week on food stamps. I mean, let's be for real. You know, that's ridiculous. You know, you need to concentrate on bigger things. It's difficult for people, but you know, living a week on food stamps, that's easy to get by on. You know, there's other things and bigger fish to try to catch. So we'll see how that goes. I just got a thing, is it like you were saying, Frank LoBiondo was part of it. Rob Andrews, Pat Meenan. He's from Pennsylvania, though. Yeah, the Paulsboro train derailment and chemical leakage. They had to evacuate people, and the original evacuation area, they had to expand upon it because they realized they made it smaller than they wanted. 27 blocks or 2.2 square miles. Hundreds of homes have been affected. You know, that's just insane. I mean, we actually have to have a catastrophe like this in order for people to realize the situation. You know, I'm not to pat myself on the back, but this is what I've been saying all along. We have to fix our infrastructure, and the railways is part of it. The waterways, bridges, and roads are other parts of it. You know, it's ridiculous that we have to go through this just to get some type of recognition for it. And you have people like our congressman saying, "Oh yeah, we need to fix the problem." No kidding. You know, this isn't rocket science. Everyone's been saying this for a while, especially myself. You know, and I know for a fact I used to deal with vinyl chloride. This stuff is dangerous. It's incredible how powerful this stuff was and is, and thousands of pounds of this stuff has been released into our atmosphere. It's colorless, it's very flammable, and they use it specifically to make plastics, the PVC type plastics. I know for a fact because I used to do with it years ago. It's just, I'm just bewildered about how this could have happened, and it could have been prevented. I mean, I don't know what you guys are thinking. Yeah, now it's a 100-year-old swing bridge. What's that tell you? The past 100 years, somebody didn't think this bridge needs to be fixed. It goes on. I mean, from what I'm reading, these trains go on this bridge all the time, and nobody inspects these bridges. I mean, come on. I thought the state was bigger than that, and these rail companies are bigger than that. You know, don't you find it kind of peculiar that all these catastrophes are happening to our area in such a short period of time? You know, I think people need to open up and start thinking about what's going on. You know, we shouldn't have to have situations. I was during my election campaign, I was talking about the hydraulic frackling that's happening when they make natural gas over in Pennsylvania. They have to use all kinds of water, and there's like 600 and I think it's 28 chemicals that they use. And you know, they bring the water over to here down in the Pennsville area to be uncontaminated and then released out into the wild or back into nature. And there's no proof of what they're doing is actually cleaning the water, and then they're releasing it. We're going to end up with four-eyed fish and two-tailed fish. You know, it's all kinds of mutations. And we got the nuclear power plants that kind of old. I remember 30 years ago I worked at them. And I think we need to upgrade things. But anyway, we're getting to the bottom of our show. I would like to sit here and talk with you a little bit further, but don't hesitate to get in touch with us. The website's davidwbowen.com, and my email address is Bowen, the number 4 Congress. I haven't changed it. I apologize. At gmail.com. So it's davidwbowen.com or Bowen for Congress at gmail.com. Don't hesitate to write us or drop us a line, and we will correct the situation if there is one, or we'll just address any situation. Until then, you guys have yourself a good day, good week, good month, and I'll talk to you next week. Take care.
You've been listening to Voice of an